Mike? Hey, Anthony, how are you doing? Good. Is anyone else on the line? No. Listen, Anthony, I just wanted to call to tell you that you're doing a great job with your videos. I watched them all. Yesterday, my brother-in-law played it to me, and I was impressed. You know, you're so articulate. You're so smart. You explain yourself so well. You explain things in a common sense manner that I haven't heard other people say. I'm just glad you weren't in that courtroom. Thanks, Mike. That was the beginning of my conversation with Michael Ketchmark, the attorney leading the class action ridiculous lawsuit against NAR and all of the other parties. He called me on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. I want to talk to you about that call, and I also want to talk to you about some other things. There is a new case. There are some other articles. Folks, we actually have a positive news article about our industry, and I'm going to cover that. There's even a hearing on Friday at the United States Appeals Court in Washington, D.C. with respect to the argument between NAR and the Department of Justice. I'm going to touch on that. And then lastly, I'm going to get into what has really changed. It's been 4 weeks and a day. Okay, what has really changed? I'll get to that last. So first, back to the Ketchmark call. I have to say, I give him credit. He's taken a page out of my book, hitting the problem head on, folks. I will give him credit for that. This guy is not scared. He cannot be intimidated, and he is someone that is not scared to speak out. Who does that remind you of on our side? Me. He called. He hit it head on. I've done the same thing. I've done that against people that we've litigated against. I've emailed across the aisle to other lawyers. I've been known to do the same thing, and that's what he was doing. Now, what was the conversation like? Well, I'm not going to repeat every word of the whole conversation, but he was a gentleman. He was a professional. He was overly nice to the point that I was like, all right, he's definitely up to something. It's like when a shark bumps you in the water when you're snorkeling and you think, oh, he only bumped me, and then they swing around and bite you. That's what I'm expecting. So if I get sued today, tomorrow, and Ketchmark is leading it, then it's game on. It's game on, folks. I will deal with that if that is the case. Of course, I hope I don't get sued. I don't want my company to end up in an unnecessary, ridiculous, frivolous, foolish, money-grabbing lawsuit that we have to defend ourselves against. But if we have to, we will. And I will be a tyrant of a defendant. I will be different than any other defendants in this case. And Ketchmark knows that. He knows that because he and I talked a little bit about how I'm the one voicing my opinion on this side. I'm the one throwing haymakers because I'm trying to match what he's doing, okay? He's going out in the news and calling us all kinds of things, and he pointed that out. I also suspect part of what he was up to with all those compliments was to try to drive a wedge between me and NAR and maybe perhaps some of the other defendants. Not happening, Mike. Do I wish our side would be a little more vocal, would be a little more outspoken, would get into the news stations and sound off against you like you're doing against our industry? Of course I wish that, okay? I'm happy to do it, and guess what, folks? To Michael's credit, he is too. That's another reason he called. He said, listen, I just want you to know, I will debate you on any stage, anywhere. Was he trying to get on Crush It in Real Estate? I don't know. Maybe, but he's not getting on Crush It in Real Estate. I'm not putting him on any of my platforms that I own because I don't think he's deserving of that. He's trying to take down our industry, okay? This is someone that thinks we should be on the Australian system, which provides people no help, and I'm going to go over something about that in a little while about Australia. So he will be on none of my platforms, but he said he'll do it on any platform. And then I said, well, why did you bail on Inman? And he said, well, Anthony, I wouldn't exactly say I bailed. And then he had his side of the story. So I've heard some of the story from folks at Inman. I've heard Michael's side of the story. And if I had to bet, probably a 60-40 on 40% he got pushed out or 25% he got pushed out, 60 or 75% he bailed. But I will tell you, and I hate to give this guy any credit, okay, because he is the devil to real estate, but I don't think he backed down. This is not a guy that backs down, okay? I think he probably looked at the situation, saw all the pushback Brad was getting, and said, listen, I don't need to walk into a hostile environment. I'll be honest, I was surprised he agreed to it in the first place. I also can't help but wonder, did he see that I was going to be the rebuttal and bail because of that? I asked him. I said, did you see that I was going to be the rebuttal? He said, yes, I saw that. Now, Inman, in my opinion, made a mistake of not immediately announcing that or immediately lining that up in advance. For those of you that were paying attention to Brad Inman on LinkedIn or me on LinkedIn, you would see that on Saturday morning, 2 Saturdays ago, Brad was debating with someone and he replied and said, Anthony Lamacchia is going to be on stage. And he actually invited the person, and that kind of fizzled. And then I had set it up with Inman and Brad that I was going to be the official rebuttal after Ketchmark, and I was going to be responding. I said I'd like to debate. They said they didn't want that because they knew we'd talk over each other, which, let's face it, we would. I'd have a hard time sitting there listening to him throw bombs, half of them untrue or distorted in the way that it's explained, and holding my tongue, and he probably would have a hard time too. So I was excited to be the rebuttal. And then Inman didn't officially announce it, even though they told me to, and then all of a sudden, okay, Ketchmark bailed out. There's room for debate there. I don't know the exact answer. I wasn't on the phone with him and Brad. I didn't see the emails with my own eyes, but that's generally what I think happened. So again, why did Ketchmark call? And why was he overly nice? Was he probably trying to soften me a little? Yeah, I think that there's probably some of that. He's certainly a warm personality, he's a charismatic person. Great, I'm not falling for it. I'm not going to be his friend. He knows that. We're not going to be in friends in this life or the next life. It's just not happening. But I think he was defending himself on Inman. I think he was defending himself about all the money talk. He said, hey, in your videos, you mentioned that all I talk about is money. Then you mentioned the podcast. He goes, in the podcast, the name of the podcast is The Financial Samurai, or Samurai, whatever it's called. And I said, you're right, Mike, but I know what you did here. You painted a story of money. The real estate industry is ripping off everybody else, and you did it brilliantly to a jury of people that you fooled, a jury of 8 that you fooled, and then you're doing it to get on the airwaves, and it's working. And then we debated about that for a few minutes. So I think that's part of the reason. He's definitely an argumentative type, obviously. He's a trial attorney. So he wanted to make his points. He did say, I'll debate you on any stage, and I'm still up for it, folks. Good Morning America, CNBC. If Inman decides to change their mind and they want to put us up to debate, which if you look at the comments everywhere, that's what everyone's asking for. Brad wants to sit in the middle and ask me questions and then let Michael respond. And fine, we can do it in a controlled atmosphere. I can't promise that I won't mouth off or interrupt, but I'll do the best I can. One of the things that he said to me it was interesting is he said, Anthony, tell me what I'm missing. Because I said, you're missing things. You don't know the intricacies of our business. He goes, okay, tell me what I'm missing. And I said, you're missing the fact that you are severely going to hurt home buyers. I should have also said sellers, by the way, but I don't know why I didn't. But I said buyers because truthfully, buyers are going to be hurt the most. And he said, really, you really feel that way? And we debated a little and we got into some detail. And I said, Mike, he said, well, can't they put it into the sale? He used some words like that. Don't quote me. And I said, Mike, Fannie Freddie regulations don't allow that. He said, well, regulations can be changed. Regulations can be changed. Michael, Fannie and Freddie went into the FHFA and into government conservatorship in 2008. Every year there's talk about getting it out of government conservatorship. Okay, it's 15 years later, nothing's changed. Washington moves at a snail's pace. Okay, they're not changing that regulation, and if they are, it's not going to be easy, and it's not necessary. Okay, there's disruption that is being attempted here, and I don't believe it. The other thing that Ketchmark said, and he was tough about it. He said, no one's backing me. There's no financial backers. There's no big money behind me. There's no disruptors that pointed me to your industry. I decided to do this myself. I don't believe it. Maybe there's no financial backers. That's possible. He's a wealthy person. He's a very successful person. I actually read that he went after a pharmaceutical company in 2002 for someone was screwing up the drugs, and he took them down over it. And he got the victims, like 1,500 victims. That's a great cause. Michael, go back to real causes like that instead of frivolous cases like this. In Charlotte Laws, she points that out in an article, and I'm going to read something that she pointed out in an article that she said, same thing. Go spend your money, time, and energy on real causes, not trying to take down a system that's working. But he was adamant about that, and I wanted to tell you all that. Now, let me move on, and of course, I'll still intermingle things about the conversation. We've got another case. Georgia, in the last 2 days, they jumped in, and the key points of the case, here's one of them. The current system allows insufficient agents to remain in the business without the necessity to enhance their competitiveness or exit the market. Oh, these plaintiffs' attorneys and plaintiffs, they really care about how many people are in their industry? Give me a break. Okay, one thing I meant to add a minute ago when I was talking about Michael decided to do this on his own. Bullshit, not possible. There's no way in hell these plaintiffs woke up one day, everybody called Ketchmark and McCrite, that's their law firm, and said, we were wronged. Not possible. And folks, our next video, we're doing some digging on those plaintiffs, not personally, but I want to see when they bought their homes, when they sold their homes. Let's see how wronged they really were. Let's take a look at that, because I think it's a bunch of garbage. Okay, I truly believe that, and Michael knows that. He sent postcards out to the whole state of Missouri, to all the sellers in the last 5 years or whatever the statute of limitation time frame was. He rounded these people up, join my case, you get money. And he came up with Sitzer and Burnett as the lead plaintiffs. Last summer, Sitzer heard what's going on and bailed out of the case, but he had Burnett and the others. One of the others, just to give you a little tease on my next video, a personal injury attorney. Do you think a personal injury attorney that lives in Kansas City doesn't know Michael Ketchmark from being in the industry? Do you think they didn't somehow work together on this? Come on, let's be real. There's no doubt about that. So, new case in Georgia, a little bit of a different flair on this one. Bunch of plaintiffs that they mention here. Let me move on to some articles. And I'm going to start with a positive one. Unfortunately, this positive one is not in a major news organization. It's City Watch LA, okay? And this woman, Charlotte Laws, put it out. This one has so many things in it that I can't read it all. But one part in particular that I loved, Michael Ketchmark, a class action attorney for the Missouri case, says that agents should earn as little as 1% commission. He likens them to travel agents who used to make 10% on the cost of a ticket. He claims they make less today. Note, Ketchmark appears to be wrong about travel agents. They make 10% to 22% on international bookings, according to online studies. And guess what I did? I talked to someone here whose spouse is in the travel agency. They said, standards 10%, sometimes higher. So, see, what Ketchmark understands is you can go on the news and push the envelope on truths, because that's how you get on the airwaves. And when you say bold things, people pay attention. Let's face it, in my videos here, if I was and wimpy and perfect and direct like a typical lawyer, would these videos be getting thousands of views? No. Michael understands that. Truthfully, I wish our side understood that a little better. I wish our side came out swinging more in the media. And I've lended myself. I've said, the next case, NAR knows this. I'll go in the room, I'll spend a week if necessary, and I'll be an expert in the room to assist the attorneys if necessary. I don't claim to know the legalities of the Sherman Act to the extent that Ketchmark does or the extent that our defense attorneys do, but I know the intricacies of our business inside out, upside down, and very few people can match me on that. Okay? Good job pointing that out, Charlotte. I want to go to the end of the article, which, by the way, we're going to send this article out in the emails that we send out, and you all should look at it. Charlotte did a terrific job. I'm going to read her conclusion. In conclusion, I would like to offer some advice to class action lawyers who are creating confusion and chaos while recklessly destroying a tried and true process. She should have added tried, true, and transparent process, but that's okay. End the short-sighted war on real estate. Save your bullets for a worthy cause. It's exactly what I said to Ketchmark a few minutes ago. Going after a pharmaceutical company that mixed drugs the wrong way and hurt thousands of people, that's a cause you should go after, okay? Give it up on our business. Next, Miami Herald. Is your realtor steering buyers away from your home? This might be the reason. Here we go. Realtors staring again. I've said it in the last 4 videos. Buyers drive the process. Realtors cannot hide properties. Let's see. A study was done. I'm sure that, yes, Texas A&M study. They call their study the first systematic nationwide evidence that buyer agents do, in fact, steer clients away from properties that offer low buyer agent commissions. how do you steer a buyer in any market, but truthfully, a low inventory market? I mean, since the internet came out, since all the properties went online, there's no hiding properties from buyers. It is impossible to do that, okay? Impossible. So, and especially impossible to do that in a low inventory market. Wanted to point that out. Here we go, Consumer Federation of America again. Stephen Brobeck. Stephen, I know you're a nice guy. I know you care about consumers. Why don't you come to my office and let's talk. I'll send you out with some agents to see what agents do every day, see how hard they work, see how much they put in, so that you can see how it works on a ground level. Because I know you care about consumers, but you're misunderstanding our business. And the true care in your heart about consumers would stop this, because you're going to hurt buyers more than anyone, and I strongly doubt you want to be a part of that. Okay, Ketchmark's in a different boat. He doesn't care. He's out for blood. He wants money. He wants to set up the next 10 generations. But I don't believe Stephen's like that, although maybe I'm wrong. I don't know him that well, only spoken to him a couple times. This is interesting, and I want to dispute this in the Miami Herald. What they discovered is sobering. They found that, all else being equal, low commission listings attracted less attention. The lower the fee, the more agents who wanted nothing to do with it. How do they know that? That is a news statement being twisted into an opinion. Right there, I underline it. Moreover, the researchers observed that listings with the lowest commissions took 33% longer to sell. They never mention you get what you pay for. They probably hired a discount brokerage or maybe an entry-only company that's just putting the listing in MLS, not doing proper pictures or photography, not doing aerial drones on the properties that warrant it, not properly marketing the property, not emailing it out to their database, not doing just listed cards, probably not properly doing an open house. All of those things, you start adding those up, it's less exposure. Folks, more marketing equals more demand. More demand equals more money for a seller. That's why my company spends millions of dollars over the years on television and billboards and radio. Why? Not only to bring in new business, but that new business, those sellers that call are also buyers. Those buyers that come in, we expose our listings to them. Are we a discount brokerage? Hell no. And I have no problem saying that on a camera that could end up anywhere. You want to get some discount, you want discounted services, call somewhere else. We're a full-service brokerage that does the right things by clients, properly elevates their properties, adheres to our fiduciary duties to the clients. That's what the realtors at Lamacchia Realty do, and that's what the realtors at most of these big brokerages that he's going after are doing. Okay, so they failed to mention that, and they should have. Shame on them for not putting that part in. Yahoo Finance, folks, I've got some new lawyers to introduce you to. I've got some new lawyers to call into the Royal Rumble. Okay, check out this headline. The hefty commissions home sellers pay to real estate agents may soon disappear. Oh, folks, Ketchmark's a good trial attorney. He's not Harry Houdini. He's not going to make it so that every commission, they're all gone all over the country. Not going to happen, okay? It's normal for commissions to be paid in an array of industries. That's not some unusual thing. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Hang on, let me find a couple different things here. Patrick Nee, here's an attorney in South Carolina. The whole practice needs to stop. One of the lawyers representing the plaintiffs in a case filed in South Carolina told Yahoo Finance, "We just need to go back to being a free market." We're in the freest market you could imagine in this business. Our properties are listed on a platform that gives everyone the chance. All buyers the chance, all buyers at all levels, all realtors at all levels to see those properties, to show those properties, to have a chance at selling those properties. It's totally an open market system. But Patrick, I wanted to welcome you. I also want to welcome, hang on, let me look for the next attorney. He's in here somewhere. Here we go, here we go. Matt Shelly, also a South Carolina attorney. They're probably working together. They were referring to a prior statement in the article about some changes being made. That's just window dressing in our opinion. Raw. We don't think that solves the problem. What buyer's agent is going to take a buyer to that house? Folks, buyer's agents have, many of them, contracts with their buyers. They can charge their buyers directly. That makes it more expensive. That makes it more complicated, okay, when a buyer has to come out of pocket. But they're trying to act like they're for the buyer, and they're not. They're going to hurt the buyer. But welcome to the Royal Rumble, Matthew. I won't be as hard on you if you are not as hard on us. Ketchmark goes on every news station and calls us all kinds of things. You start doing that, I'll be talking about you too. Michael, don't get jealous. I won't forget you. Here's another one towards the end, and this is someone from a law school or something. So theoretically, it should decrease list prices. These are people that have no understanding of our business. Commissions changing are not going to decrease listing prices. They're not. It's a supply and demand business. Now, opening statements, which, by the way, I'm working on getting the actual opening statements. Mr. Ketchmark, if you could send those to me, that'd be cool. I'm trying to get them another way. But the Daily Mail. One of the things Ketchmark mentioned in his opening statement is the Australian system where commissions are lower. Things are easier. Buyers go directly. Yeah, okay. Sydney, Australia, it takes 14.3 years for an average buyer to save to have enough money for a deposit. Don't tell me the Australian system is better, because it's not. Okay? And I'm going to dig into that more. And, you know, the jurors probably didn't know this, but the appellate court judges, I'm sure this will be presented to them, or maybe I'll mail it to them. Last article, but not least, and then I'm going to talk about that hearing on Friday, and then I'm going to touch on what's changed. Last article by Laura Cousteau at Wall Street Journal, always a good reporter. My view is she tries hard to get all sides. Wish she got a little more from our side on this one, but she did point out how Ketchmark's firm paid $1.7 million to Texas A&M to Dr. Shulman, right? Dr. Shulman probably went to college with Ketchmark. We should look into that. But she pointed that out in the article, and I thought that was good. And then she talked about how this case came to be, and she's a little nicer than me. My statements would have been, this is a money grab, but that's okay. That's an article to check out as well. Next, this hearing on Friday. So there's an interesting hearing happening at the appeals court in the District of Columbia, D.C., on Friday. It is not on the specifics of the case. It is the appeal. And what NAR did, and I give them credit, though, as I said, I wish we'd be more aggressive, but I give them credit. They're good on the legalities and the laws. They're good on that stuff, right? They filed and they sued the DOJ because the DOJ, remember, backed out of the settlement agreement, or whatever, I don't know if the word is settlement, but whatever agreement they had agreed to some point in 2020. They backed out in 21 when the Biden administration came in. Listen, I'm not being political, but there's no denying that Biden's administration is not as business friendly. It's just the way it is. You tend to see that. So they're going after many industries with respect to antitrust. Well, once they did that with our industry and they undid the settlement, they emboldened all these lawyers. Okay? So we're going in to argue that they should not have backed out of the settlement. That's what's happening here. Last but not least, what has changed in the industry? So I should say, when we hear about that on Friday, which I don't think we will, it could take several weeks, but when we do, we'll get an update out. What has changed? Today's 4 weeks and 1 day. Truthfully, not much. Not much. If anything, all of these articles that keep saying what is not true, realtors are paid 6% commissions and they share it 3 and 3. If anything, these articles are helping. Because you're hurting the discount brokerages because you're making them feel like, well, why aren't you mentioning us? Why are you only mentioning the full service companies that provide an array of products and services and marketing? Okay? So really nothing's changed. There's been a few clients here or there who have asked questions to our agents, but nothing dramatic at all. People are still signing listing agreements. Sellers are still agreeing to offer cooperating brokerage compensation to the buyer agency's firm. The buyer agent's firm, which makes sense. So the buyer doesn't have to come out of pocket, right? That makes sense. Hey, one last thing Ketchmark said. Anthony, I actually like your videos. They're helping my case. You're pointing out flaws in my case or little holes in my case that I'm going to work to argue, or whatever he said. Don't quote me on the wording. But I also think there was some reverse psychology there in him saying that. That's his way of trying to get me to say, shit, I shouldn't help him. Not happening, Mike. As I said, we'll never be friends in this life, probably not the next life, right? And I am going to continue to point out flaws in your case and in all these cases around the country. And in the next video, I'll have more information on these plaintiffs. I want to see how they were so wronged. Watch us find their properties sold $50,000 over asking. That'll be a nice find, won't it? We'll be out on more with more on that probably next week. Thank you all for listening. Good luck to all my realtor friends. Keep doing what you're doing. We do what's best for buyers, for sellers. We represent their interests. We help people in every manner we can to achieve the dream of home ownership and to sell their homes, get into, homes that fit their needs. Let's keep doing what we're doing, folks. I'll keep spending some of my time on this because I'm very frustrated about this case. Thank you all for tuning in. Follow me on Instagram. I put mini updates out there, and I tend to mention when I'm going to put these videos out. Thank you all.